video is brought to you by Letsynthesize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Hey, Larson here, welcome to the newest Synthesize Sunday episode, and in this video I'm going to show you a rack that can maintain your transient and also provide your low end of your kick drum or your bass sequence or your bass sound from distortion if it is clipping heavily. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so here is the kick, and as you can see here in the view meter, it is clipping heavily. So if I resample it, you can see that it has some clipping. Even if I add 2 decibels, you can see it a lot better. So lots of heavy clipping. So if you put a limiter after it, what you get is something like this. So the low end is smooth and fine, but you basically kill the transient. So it won't be snappy, it won't be punchy. I don't prefer it. The second version is add a saturator instead of the limiter and click on soft clip. So what you get is something like this. It is even worse. So you kept the very heavily clipping version, you maintain the transient, but the whole result is not very good. So what I would do is a different method. Let me delete both of the versions. And I would treat the low one differently to keep it soft, and the mid and the high end with a separate process to keep it punchy. So for that, I want to go to my self-made rack, and that is called 2-band split. So I have a top band and the bottom band, but without the sidechain effect, we don't need that. So to maintain the low end, I want to go to the effects and put a limiter after that. So right now, let's check the view meter. You can see that it is not clipping at all, and the top end is still clipping heavily. So because it doesn't matter if we saturate the high end a little, we have lots of high frequencies, we won't really hear the difference if we add a saturator, but with the saturator we can keep or maintain the transient. So you can see it is not clipping now. If you want, you can add a little more drive. So right now the low end doesn't clipping, the top band doesn't clipping, and if you blend them together, we still have some clipping. But because everything is so fine now, we can drop a limiter after the whole rack. So as you can see, it is not clipping now at all. And we kept the low end nice and soft and maintain the transient. That is very, very important. So let me compare the sound of the processed kick and the unprocessed one. So this is going to be the unprocessed. As you can see, we have lots of things. And let's check the processed one. And comparing the 2 versions, try to focus on the transient and very soft low end of the kick. So basically, I would say the transient and the top end and everything is the same. The only difference is that we don't have that very heavy crunch and very heavy saturation or distortion, that mid-bass frequencies on the heavily clipped version, so on this one. But besides that, everything is the same, and that is so cool because, you know, with this method or with this rack or whatever, you can keep everything so nice and smooth. And if you are curious why this little gap is here, it's simply because of the warping mode. So I'm not sure why I kept it warped, but let me redo it. So now it is smooth and fine. So sorry for that, that was a little mistake. But basically you get the idea how to avoid heavy clipping and heavy saturation or distortion on your drums or basses or whatever. See, how cool is that? Now go to my Patreon for awesome stuff. And if you want to dig deeper into production, check my academy for awesome start to finish courses. I was Larson. See you guys next time. Peace.